Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Well, we've just gotten past the Thanksgiving holiday, a favorite holiday of mine because it involved eating. Yeah, I look like I missed a meal or two, right? No, it's not. No, I always loved Thanksgiving. I loved it as a kid. I loved it as an adult. And the one thing about Thanksgiving, though, is I got into broadcasting over 45 years ago. And when I started in broadcasting, one of the realizations I made, I would have to work holidays. And I worked a lot of holidays. So when I went into retail and had to work on Thanksgiving, well, it didn't bother me that much. But I know people were all up in arms about having to work on Thanksgiving. It's a family holiday. They should give Thanksgiving off. Folks, I think I've said this on Tripp's Take, and I'll say it again. Companies will respond to what consumers want. And if people show up on Thanksgiving, they'll open on Thanksgiving. Now, the paradigm has changed because, number one, online retailing has taken a hold in our society faster than anybody thought it would. But the other part of this is that retailers have realized you close on Thanksgiving, it's not a big thing. You work on Black Friday. And of course, the history, as you know, of Black Friday is that was when retail businesses would go into the black for the year because of all the sales, and it would mark the traditional start of the holiday season. And of course, we've kind of gotten away from all the madness because some of those Black Fridays, I mean, you pictures of people who were just running over people trying to get bargains and stuff, you know. I mean, it's been like that for a long time. It has been like that for a while. But you saw the trend of Thanksgiving opening and starting those Black Friday shopping Thanksgiving. You saw that a number of years. I think the craziest it got was when stores would open for 24 hours straight. And then finally they realized maybe it was not the best idea. So we're now back to most stores are closed on Thanksgiving, although we found a couple that were open. But the main topic I wanted to talk about are traditions. And traditionally, Thanksgiving always meant you'd get together with your family, and I would get together with my family. And, you know, for a number of years, it was just the three of us, my sister, my mom, and I. And we would always we'd invite my best friend over for Thanksgiving if he wanted to join us. And you know, we would have a traditional turkey dinner, although, of course, there was one year we had roast beef on Thanksgiving and turkey on Christmas. So don't ask me to explain that one. And, of course, everybody has a story about a Thanksgiving and a Thanksgiving story. There are two Thanksgiving stories that I share with my family. Number one, when I was young, we would go to my grandmother's for Thanksgiving, my grandmother on my father's side, and my grandmother smoked. She also loved to use pepper in the mashed potatoes. So my father would always say, "Mom, were you smoking over the mashed potatoes and flicking your ashes in there?" Again, a funny story. And then in later years, there was the one Thanksgiving where my grandmother on my mother's side, called out my stepfather for his drinking, saying he was not sick, he was drunk at the dinner table. Oh, his mom was there too. I should mention that. His mother. So it was one of those moments that is ingrained in my mind and will be forever. Of course, now my sister and I are the only two around for that one, but we always bring it up every so often about Thanksgiving and meals when we're sitting there having something. I know it is one of those memorable Thanksgiving meals. And again, every family has them and has those anecdotes, that kind of thing. But again, I talk about it's about tradition. And I really like having, you know, turkey at home and dressing and the whole nine yards. I mean, I don't eat turkey that often, but, you know, Thanksgiving, it's there. The thing about it is that with my schedule, it has been kind of tough. And I've been kind of lucky. But one of the other things that has changed is the fact that now the stores, grocery stores, are starting to prepackage holiday meals. So basically, you just got to pop it in the oven and heat it up, which is pretty good. It's helped me out. You know, it helped me out for Christmas a few years ago, and they're doing that for Thanksgiving too. So when I came down to Georgia, Sandy and her family, they were used to going to Cracker Barrel, and they would go to Cracker Barrel and then go and see Sandy's father, who was in the nursing home, where they would have Thanksgiving with him, but they usually would do the latter and go to Cracker Barrel. Well, when I came down, I said, hey, I'd like to have Thanksgiving here. And we talked about it. And unfortunately, Sandy's dad had passed away in October of 2018. So we decided to do the Publix, which is the grocery store we shop. Publix Thanksgiving meal was pretty good. And I picked it up the day before. It was my responsibility since, I had flexible hours, and usually I would have to go in later on the day before Thanksgiving because I'd be working Thanksgiving and they would want me there to help set up and that kind of thing. Be that as it may. So we did this for a couple of years and it worked out pretty well. But then Sandy's mom passed away just before Thanksgiving, and Sandy said, I don't want to cook. And I don't blame her. Now, my mom, my sister, and I ate out one Thanksgiving, and that was when my grandmother had passed away just the week before. So we went out for Thanksgiving, and we all just were like, no, we're not doing this again. No, we're cooking at home. And we did for the rest of, we did for the next few years. But I understood why Sandy didn't want to cook. So they said, hey, let's go to Cracker Barrel. Now, Cracker Barrel, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is a chain of restaurants, and they offer comfort foods, meatloaf. They have a number, also, country favorites. And for Thanksgiving, they offered country fried turkey. So that first Thanksgiving, we all go to Cracker Barrel, and I have country fried turkey. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So much so that we said, all right, let's go to Cracker Barrel. Okay, we'll go to Cracker Barrel. Yeah, country fried turkey. Yeah. Well, this year, it wasn't as good. Well, here's the problem. Number one, everybody else wanted to go to Cracker Barrel for Thanksgiving, and the wait time was kind of long. Now, if you're familiar, Cracker Barrel also has rocking chairs that you can sit in, and I was sitting there, but after a while, people were like, hey, when are we going in? And I said, well, we're online. I did it online, electronic thing. Yeah. Well, we finally got in, and we were told no country fried turkey this year. Turkey and dressing. And it was not what I would say great. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but a limited menu and limited staff, which is, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. And they've had limited menu, but, the country fried turkey is something I look forward to. So after we were all underwhelmed, we all looked at each other and we said, all right, next year we'll try Publix again. We'll go back to that. And again, cooking for Thanksgiving can be a bit much. But if you get these prepackaged meals and stuff, it does make it a little easier. And I'll go back to making my green bean casserole. Yeah, I love it. Speaking of Thanksgiving traditions, football and Thanksgiving, high school football when I was in New Jersey was always big. But now that has been, those Thanksgiving traditional rivalries have gone away because of the way the football playoffs have gone. But football is big, and of course the NFL with 3 games, and now there's a new tradition, a Black Friday game, and it's on Amazon. How about that? And Amazon took the opportunity to drop some nice little Black Friday specials during the game. The game itself featured the New York Jets, who stink this year, and the Miami Dolphins, who are very good this year. And by the way, the Miami Dolphins are featured now on the in-season Hard Knocks. I didn't think they were going to do one this year because they hadn't announced any team. And then finally, all of a sudden, they said, we're going to do the Miami Dolphins. And they started filming that really at the start of when they were going to do Hard Knocks. Whereas before, they would document the season and they would be with the team the entire year. And I think part of the problem was the 2 teams they have done previously, the Indianapolis Colts didn't make the playoffs. The Arizona Cardinals didn't make the playoffs, fired their coach, by the way. And yeah, just not good. So I think a lot of teams were afraid of doing it. And maybe that was one of the reasons why they didn't say anything, because maybe there were a couple of teams they were considering, and then they acquiesced to doing it at this point. So, and I started watching it. And again, it's Hard Knocks. NFL Films does such a great job on Hard Knocks. If you were a football fan, I would recommend that to you. Anyhow, I kind of digress a little bit. The Black Friday game was just awful, including a Hail Mary 99-yard touchdown interception return. Only the Jets could do that. It was awful. Speaking of awful, I got to talk about my New York Football Giants. Yeah, they've won 2 games in a row. They have not been pretty. They have been rather ugly affairs. But then again, Monday night's game against the Bears and the Vikings was also extremely ugly. We are heading into the month of December. Yay, rah, yay, rah, yay, rah. Holiday season is in full force. And, well, I hope Santa Claus is good to you, and I hope the holidays do bring you some joy and happiness. It's a tough time, especially for those who have lost relatives and lost folks over the last year, because the holidays, that's when you really feel their loss. When you feel the loss of a friend, a close friend, a relative, there's a milestone there. And of course, it was a year ago that I lost my brother-in-law, Kenny, who passed away December 1st of last year, and the beginning of the end was right around Thanksgiving. So I thought about that this year. That is Tripp's Takes for November 30th, 2023. I'd love to hear your comments and questions about my podcast. All you got to do is email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, be on the lookout for our other podcast. It's the Fantasy Sultans, the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck, and yours truly. You can find it on Spotify for podcasters and on YouTube. Just search Fantasy Sultans. Like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, listen to WTRSradio.com online. Join me next week. For now, I'm Tripp Rogers. Thanks for watching, and make it a great one.